morning, everyone. Welcome back. I feel like allergy season is upon us and I'm a little stuffy today, but we are going to do a little core work. So today is really a quick reset and a little opportunity to reset the pelvis, get the core fired up, and kind of prepare you for whatever might come your way in the day, today or tomorrow. And sometimes that's all that yoga has to be. It doesn't have to be an hour of your time. It doesn't have to be, anything crazy, any flowing, it doesn't have to be a crazy flow. Sometimes all you need to do is feel your body, reset your posture, reset your pelvis, and tap into the core, because the core is this conduit of energy where it is how we transfer energy all throughout our body and into our limbs, and our limbs are the way that we move around, they're the way that we express ourselves, and our core has to be functional in order for all of those beautiful expressive things to happen in as efficient and as and feel as good as it possibly can. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll meet on our back, and if you have a block, if you happen to have a block, go ahead and grab onto that as well and keep it handy. So we will come down onto our back, and first, let's set up the feet in line with our hips, so the feet aren't too wide or close together. We're trying to get them hip width distance apart. That puts our knees in line with our hips as well. And then feel the back of your pelvis, the sacrum, nice and flat and heavy on the floor, on the mat beneath you. And then if you notice your chin really kind of sticking up, think about pulling or drawing your head kind of away from you so your chin tucks a little bit and the back of your neck lengthens. Then you're going to take your hands and place them on the belly in between your rib cage and your ASISs, your hip bones. And start to take nice full breaths in and out. Now, when you take that breath in, see if you can feel your rib cage expand in 3 dimensions, so everything is opening up. And then that core, everything in between your shoulders and your pelvis, draw in on the exhale. Now bring your hands down to the sides of your hips so you can give your glutes a little tap and then turn those glutes on. So by tapping, we're giving ourselves a little bit of sensory feedback to like, hey, wake them up. And then lift your hips into a really low bridge, keeping that pelvis really neutral. Those glutes are firing, and then return the hands to the belly. And take a couple strong breaths here. Again, remember that neck, so like my ponytail is kind of in the way here. I'm gonna undo that so I can really focus on lengthening through the back of my neck and not having my chin lift up. Now, when we're on our phones a lot or we're on the computer a lot, just this motion might feel like you're having to be a little active because our natural tendency is to bring our head forward when we're on technology a lot, but we really want to work these deep neck flexors to bring our head into a more neutral position. Those hips are still lifted. And then bring your left hand back to that hip, kind of giving that glute a little feedback, and lift your right leg up, stacking the knee over the right hip. And then bring the right heel on top of the left thigh, just proximal of the knee joint, and press down a little bit here, keeping the pelvis level. That left glute is working, and your core is drawing in the whole time. So one of the things with that neck, so your deep neck flexors actually share fascial connections with your core muscles all the way down to your pubic bone. So when we keep our neck in a more neutral position, we're actually going to help engage our core. Keep yourself in that low bridge. Remove the right foot, place the right foot down. And then right hand goes to that right glute, giving it that sensory feedback. And then lift the left leg up, stacking the knee over the hip. And then left heel goes to the top of that right thigh, just proximal. So proximal means closer. Distal means farther when we're talking anatomically. So proximal of the knee would be just closer to your core or closer to the body of the knee. Unstack that left foot, place the left foot down. Now integrate your core. Again, your core, we want it to be working this whole time. And you're going to use your front body to slow your descent as you bring the hips down and you place that sacrum back on the floor. Now, take your hands, place them on your ribs, and I want you to kind of press your hands down towards your pelvis. So this idea of your rib cage closing down, I want you to kind of feel that with your hands. And then make sure that core is helping to keep this rib cage integrated. Then we're going to take the arms and we're going to lift the arms up over our head just as far as you can keep that rib cage closed down. And then bring the arms back forward, ribs stay neutral. And reach it up. Ribs neutral, neutral, core is working. And forward. One more time, reach up. And then come forward. So what can happen if we're not connected to our core, if we're not integrated, then when we lift our arms up, we can get all of this kind of extra movement and compensation happening, our rib cage opening up and our pelvis coming into anterior tilt. So holding and harnessing the core while we're lifting the arms is what we're looking for. Now let's go ahead and get into a little bit of core. So here's where if you have a block, you can go ahead and grab it. If you don't have a block, that's okay. We're going to place the block in between the thighs, either on the narrow setting or the medium setting, whatever feels most comfortable. And that is going to help us connect or really fire our inner thighs, which share fascial connections to our core as well. So when we light up those inner thighs by squeezing a block, then it's also helping us get into our core. Now, if you don't have a block, then you just want to imagine that there's something there that you're holding on to try and get that activation. It's not going to be quite the same, but you can still bring that intention and awareness there. Place the hands on the skull as you bring the elbows in and up, and knees are stacked over the hips as much as possible. So try not to bring the knees too far in or float them too far away. We want them to be in this nice stacked position. Take an inhale here, and then exhale, lift the back of the head and the shoulders. Now, when you lift, don't crane through the neck. Try and keep that neck in a neutral position. The hands are there to support the head. Keep squeezing that block in between the thighs or imagining that you're doing so. And then inhale, come down. Exhale, lift up. And inhale down. Exhale, lift it up. And inhale down. And when you inhale, I want you to think about when you had your arms overhead and that harnessing of your core. So when you inhale, you don't let everything go and let the ribs open up. We still harness even when we come down. Take an inhale here. Exhale, lift back of the head and the shoulder blades. And then take the elbows 2 inches over to the left, twisting, trying to lift through that left shoulder blade. So as much as you can, keep that left shoulder blade off the floor, and then come back through center and down. Exhale, lift. Twist over to the left, 2 inches from your center. Elbows become a reflection of that movement from your center. And then come back and down. Now we're going to add on, so we're adding layers here. Exhale, lift up, twist over to the left, 2 inches from your center, elbows reflect, come back through center, and then go over to your right, and back through center, and down. One more time, starting to the left. Exhale, lift, twist left, and center, and right, and center, come back down. Go ahead and bring the feet down, remove that block from in between your legs, and now heel toe the feet a little wider. We're going to take the knees, drop both knees over to the left, and then similarly to how we were in bridge, take your left foot this time and place your left foot on top of your right thigh. Now, you're going to think about pressing the thigh bone down toward the bottom of your mat as you lift through this right ASIS and squeeze your right glute. Hopefully, this creates an opening right in the front of this right hip. And then go ahead and reach your right arm up over your head, and left hand grabs the right wrist for a little wrist gap here. And if it feels like too much to have that arm up overhead, then you can bring that arm straight up out of the shoulder. Keep this right glute active. You're lifting through the ASIS and drawing down with that left foot. Stay here, release the arms, open up the arms out to a T. And then bring the knees back through center, release that left foot. Take a moment, notice the difference between the two sides, if there is one. And then we're gonna drop the knees over to the right, and we stay active in this left glute. Lift the right foot, place the right foot on top of that left thigh, and then you're drawing down and away with the right foot. Active through the left glute. Reach that left arm up. Wrist gap, so right hand grabs the left wrist, either long up over your head or straight up toward the sky, the ceiling. And we're still harnessing. So all through this movement, even though this is an opening, we're twisting a little bit, we are still harnessing that rib cage, and we're keeping our core integrated, and we're keeping our core together. When you have something that transfers energy from all of these different areas of our body, what we want to avoid is we want to avoid spaces where energy is leaking. And if I let my rib cage go, then that becomes a leak. And then my energy transfer is not going to be as efficient. Take the arms out to a T. And release that right foot. Bring the knees back up through center. And then let's do one more set of core. These are our get-ups. So when you have a collected and integrated core, then one of the functional movements that can come of that is the ability to get up off the floor. And that is something that we want to be able to do as long as we possibly can. And as we come into adulthood, we get on the floor less and for less reasons. And it gets progressively harder to get up off of the floor when we get there. So that's a beautiful thing about yoga. We get to practice this skill that is incredibly important for quality of life. So our get-ups, collected core, nice and strong. We're gonna reach those arms up over our head like we were doing before with our closed ribs and our collected core. And then we're going to lift, and as we lift up, we're gonna reach opposite arm to foot. So we're gonna go right arm first, up to the left foot. Now, if you want a little extra support, you can place the opposite hand down. If you don't reach all the way to the foot, that's okay too. And you can also just work on lifting the shoulder blades and back of the head up, keeping a neutral pelvis and really drawing that core in. So both arms up, strong integrated core, and then lift opposite left hand to right foot. And we're gonna alternate here, keeping the core together on the way down and on the way up. Can use that hand that isn't reaching for a little support on the side. Couple more each side. Our strong get-ups. Again, we can also really focus on lifting the shoulder blades. Use your exhale. So when you lift up, use that breath. One more each side. Beautiful. Go ahead and let the arms down and press yourself up onto your seat. And take that seat. I don't know what's going on with my hair, but take that seat and feel that connection and integration moving through this central part of your body. And know that in kind of gathering everything together, you have prepared your body to move in a variety of ways and in ways that express yourself. And
that is a really beautiful thing. We want to be able to express ourselves in the way that we move, in the way that we present, and that all starts in our core. So thank you for your practice today. Namaste.